to know about it. Yes.
Well, just to let you know, one of our newest Rotarian, she's in Thailand right now, but she was in Tanzania from last November through April, and she's a lawyer, and she was doing refugee work there. So I learned a lot, because I did a magazine article for her where she graduated from. I work at her school. And so we learned some things from her about Tanzania. So it's nice to have another connection to Africa.
Yes, definitely. And that's a really good point. I mean, if you look, one of the other really unique things about Tanzania, if you look at the surrounding countries around Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, the DRC, Mozambique, those are all countries that have been in extreme conflict. Tanzania, fortunately, has not had any major conflict since their independence in '64. And so that's just something that's personally really unique and interesting to me about Tanzania, that they've remained so peaceful over such a long period of time when there's so much conflict in their surrounding countries. And they do take a lot of refugees from the surrounding countries as well.
Do you have any insight as to why they have been able to stay
I do
isolated
not.
from that?
I do not. I actually want to research that a little bit with my master's program and see what is the cause of that. So, but no, I have my ideas, but they're not based on any fact or theory.
Might be right.
Yeah.
The Muslim countries, they have call to prayer like every
Yes, they did. Yep. Basically, there's a mosque almost on every corner in Zanzibar, and Tanzania itself as a country is about 50% Christian, 50% Islamic, but on the coast, the whole coast of Eastern Africa is heavily Islamic, from basically Oman and the UAE coming down, and from like trade way back in like the 1800s. That's what influenced it. But yes, the call to prayer, my first day, so call to prayer is at 6 a.m. every morning, for those of you who don't know, and it's basically a really loud speaker that you can hear no matter where you are. And there was a mosque right next to our house, and so I was actually very alarmed the first day. I wasn't really expecting a wake-up call at 6 o'clock in the morning. But yes, that was definitely a big part of the culture. That's kind of what people's days revolved around. They would leave work to go to call to prayer. Friday was actually their Saturday, if you will, because that was a big day of prayer for them. That's kind of like, if you're Christian, it would be like your Sunday is their Friday. Yes?
Did you organize the water project?
Well, I personally didn't organize it. They had already had it underway, and I helped out when I was there with it. But they had basically set aside money, and they have had a lot of NGOs in the area that come and speak to them, asking the Rotary Club for money. Pretty much every week we had somebody visiting who was working on a project, who was looking for help or assistance in some way for it. But this was a project, I think, that they were just really inspired by. A lot of the Rotarians it's about half locals and about half either from British or South Africa. And so, but the people who are foreigners have lived in Zanzibar for about 10 to 12 years, so they're local and they know what's going on. And so I think they had heard about some of the problems going on in this village, and they really wanted to help, and so they took on the project that way.
Was there an organization that was responsible for, you said they were supervising it to be sure that it was done properly. Is there an organization?
No, I think they actually contracted out to local kind of practitioners that had specialized in more engineering and architecture, things like that. So again, keep it all local and not really give the money or the time to any outside help. It's a really good question. Any other questions?
With that final picture of Mount Kilimanjaro, did you get a chance to trek up to the top?
I did not. I met a lot of people who did, though, when I was staying in Moshi, and they told me it wasn't really that difficult and you didn't need to have any climbing experience. And I just look up at them and I'm like, I don't believe you. But
That's funny.
yeah, but if I ever go back, I might contemplate it. Mount Kilimanjaro has gotten a lot of press lately too, because it's the snow-capped mountain of Africa. It's the only snow-capped mountain in the continent, and it's actually losing its snow pretty regularly. So they're trying to preserve it and keep it up there because it's such a symbol of Africa. Things like that. Great. Well, thank you all so much for having me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being sharing your experiences with us. And we're going to give you a couple of mementos. I want to first acknowledge that we are giving her the
Coveted.
Coveted.
Crystal City-Pentagon Cup,
Oh, well, I will
as
cherish
well
it.
as others.